Welcome into the Tour Coach, everybody. I'm your host, Tony Ruggiero. Thanks for sitting in. If you're passionate about the game of golf, you love the game of golf, whether you're a coach, a teacher, or a player, recreational golfer, touring professional, aspiring to get better, I think some of the information you're about to hear can help you. These are the conversations with the people that I meet, the coaches that I teach with that I find interesting, the caddies, the fitness experts, mental coaches, or players or students that I meet in my journey to help all of you play better golf. And these are the conversations we have. They're authentic, they're real, you'll laugh, some will make you think. All of it is designed to help you play better golf. I hope you enjoy these conversations, and if you like these, look, you can always go find more of our content, which is available for you on YouTube, on DewsweeperTV. That's at DewsweeperTV on YouTube. All of these, you can watch the video, but you can also watch some of our productions where you can watch us go one-on-one behind the scenes with a real player as we all work together to help people play their best. So check out DewsweeperTV. Please keep listening to the Tour Coach here. I hope you like the conversations. I'm enjoying putting the stuff out, and I enjoy this journey helping all of you play better golf. And once again, though, none of this would be remotely possible without our long-time sponsors, especially Cleveland Shrixon Golf, Mitch McConnell and McConnell Automotive, Buick GMC, Bushnell, Stokely's Midtown Garden Center, Taylor Martino and Rowan in Mobile, all of the great sponsors, and especially our new one, because there's going to be some fun nights ahead, Epic Western Tequila Drink, coming at you live from Texas. So appreciate our sponsors, appreciate all the people that sit and chat with me, and we're going to look forward to bringing you more tour coaches and more content as we help all of us play better golf there on Dewsweeper TV. All right, so here we are, Tour Coach. This is another live, not live, well, we're not doing this live. We haven't been brave enough this weekend to do this, but had a little retreat going on for the members, some teaching, doing some content. We got our good friend, longtime good friend, Matt Rudy, hanging out with us. We've got Coot, legend himself, longtime and we've had a blast. And longtime student, friend, hanging out, working on this game and helping others, Will McFadden. So, Matt, like this is, I wouldn't say you've been around us a bunch, but this was your first experience kind of watching how we all worked a little today.
Yeah, I think getting I've been fortunate to come to a few retreats.
You did come to
some of the junior.
You did one to Fred? Yeah.
I came to the junior ones, but this one was interesting, I think, because it really showed the full spectrum of what golf, in my opinion, what golf is really all about now, which is, I mean, obviously there's measurement and data and, and 3D and launch monitors and force plates and all that great stuff, but really that's just one facet of what it takes to play. And I think what was so great about it today was seeing students go from a bay where they're seeing what's happening with their launch condition and getting better at hitting the ball, but then going out with a great player, and going out with a great caddy, and adding that those components together out on the golf course and seeing how to make decisions. Seeing how to stay out of the ditch, so to speak,
right.
As a player. And I think there's no substitute for experience and watching other players do it and getting that advice. And honestly, as great as social media is and as great as the exposure the game is getting now is, what gets lost sometimes, I think, is that actual, touch point, human to human, right. Going out and learning, learning how to play,
learning how to deal with
it. And you can watch as many videos as you want. You can read as many books as you want. You still have to go out and learn how to do it. And to watch those players not only hit it better in the bay, but then go out and make better decisions and see them excited about it and great shots. That was pretty cool to see, for sure.
I always go. So I started formulating these ideas of how I wanted to do weekends like this a long time ago, way back when I worked for my old mentor, Hank. You knew Hank from the old Golf Digest days. And I mean, he was brilliant, but we had these camps, or these, then we called them camps back then, and they were so regimented. And everybody did full swing, and they beat the shit out of balls for hours. Then they went and we chipped and we putted and we bunkered, and then they went and they played like one hole at the end of the day. And I watched, and they were kids, and these kids, like, they developed good golf swing. He was a great teacher. I'm not critical.
Right.
But I'm saying one, I remember at the end of the day, hang out, like, it never seemed like at the end the kids had fun.
There was satisfaction and fun.
Like they wanted to come back and do it again.
Right, and two, like I kept, you know, as I was kind of developing in my career, and I was teaching more good players, like I started saying, like, well, man, I'd watch all these kids and, like, man, they would swing good, and they would, I mean, like on the range, like you'd slow it down on video. It'd be really hard for any of us to pick much apart. But like they were still shooting 77s, 78s, or whatever, or 80.
Right.
And I was like, man, and so like as I kind of started branching off, doing my own thing and leaving, I was like, and then I was teaching better players, so I was around people like the Coops and stuff like that on tour. I was like, man, there's got to be more to it.
When you first came out on tour, you had to be amazed at the amount of work that we did and was doing on Monday and Tuesday.
Oh, 100%.
It's like all this information is getting locked in their head.
I mean,
I think what we're doing here is getting you ready for all of that. I love what's happening here.
I think, like when it comes to data, and we dealt with a bunch of it, and we talked a little bit about this, I think, last night in the podcast, from what I was told, that, you know, the job of the teacher is to figure out what data you need and what you don't. And as I went along, and I was like, man, like if we could take kids, and it started with my love of teaching junior players, but now it's for the members of Old Palm or anybody who wants to come see us. It's like, man, there's just more to it. Like, you're going to get great instruction. Right, but you're going to get great instruction when you're in that day with us, and we're going to use, we got all the tech you could get anywhere you
Would it be fair to say it's easy to take in some tech?
Yeah.
But it's hard to take that tech and turn it into something that helps you on the golf course?
Oh,
it can be
for sure.
Right.
I mean, you've been around a gazillion great teachers. Like,
you can know that the pressure's here and the swing's there, but you know, can you take that tech and use it to make yourself
how have you seen how are all the teachers you've been around, how have you seen them in the best of the best find ways to use tech to help people play better, not just swing better?
Well, I mean, I've seen the entire spectrum, from the good, the bad, and you name it. I mean, when I started at Golf Digest in 1999, and I was doing things with Randy Smith, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Randy didn't even use video.
I love you, Randy.
He didn't use video.
Mm-hmm.
But Randy's got a TrackMan in his bay now,
Right.
And what he said to me was fascinating. And I had a tremendous amount of respect for him already, but even more after I heard this when he said, I teach junior players who have their own TrackMan, and if I'm not conversant in the world that they're living in, I'm missing an opportunity to talk to them about their game. It doesn't mean that he's grinding away on the data. Yeah.
That can go off of his line.
Correct.
To help someone.
And
what you doing, Tony?
Yeah, and my buddy Mike Jacobs has probably the most technologically advanced teaching studio on the planet. He's invented his own swing analysis software. But when you go work with him, that software is an operating system for his teaching, meaning you could go take a lesson and he might not say anything about any of the measurements or any of the data. He's using that technology for his own purposes to diagnose what you need to do.
Yeah.
And to me, that's the genius of incorporating the technology. It's the teacher using it to help assess what you need, but there still is the art of communicating what has got to be able.
That's why, like, I don't think AI will replace.
Well, I mean,
I think they'll be part of it. I think eventually teachers will have to use something.
Maybe, but I mean,
I think the game is too much on him.
Yeah, but I was talking to Will earlier today about this, and he made a super great point. He said,
"Let's not give it to you."
No, but nobody.
It kills me. It's like a knife in the back.
No, but he was talking about it. He was talking about how important it was when he was growing up to watch these great. You brought these great players in to come play, and as a junior player, to get that exposure to what good players did and what
you were smart enough to take
and he took it all in, and now he's in the position to be the player, and wants to give that back to the students that are coming in here while
That's
he's
cool.
on his own trip to make it on tour. What's so cool about that is the idea that you had to treat coaching players as almost like a team sport.
Mm-hmm.
So you're bringing tour players together so that the tour players can learn from each other. They can play practice rounds together. The caddies can cross-pollinate information. Young players can come in and learn from the older players. That's a way.
Dr. Greg,
Correct.
anything.
And the fitness guys are cross-pollinating.
We got everything.
And that's almost a way. It's not so much specifically for recruiting players, but when you're talking to people and trying to figure out who to work with, I think that, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, but it feels like to me, the players that vibe with that kind of, collaborative feel, those are people that you're going to vibe with as a coach.
If you're a sourpuss, this isn't going to work.
Exactly.
Right.
Because we're having too much fun out there learning.
And Will can speak for himself, but this is a hard life.
Yeah.
It's a lonely life to try to do it, and to have some of that touch point with other players and coaches and caddies and fitness guys who've seen it, and to get a little bit of that, some of that reassurance that you're on the right track.
It's a decision that they're making that we feel obligated to help.
And one of the things, Matt and I, we talk often, and through my career, like he's been a pretty good guy. I bounce things off of him. And so but I've said, one of the hard things is as you get popular as a teacher, and Coop, you were with me through some of this with the guy you catch.
I was right there.
You get, everybody's playing good, so you get more and more people. And I think one of the hard things as a teacher is to know when, hey, this is too many people.
Yeah, we need to.
Right, I can't do the job I do, right?
And that's so right, because a tour winner, that hadn't won, Mondays for them are it's just scattered madness. No focus that day or whatever. It's a great thing, but I don't see one thing we do here that could hurt anybody.
Yeah.
In my mind, this is the first step. Sure, your first win, no matter what level of golf you want to play, but you have to be disciplined.
But you also have to learn how to do that.
And you need to have fun.
You need someone to show you how to do that.
Right, and that's hard to do. To have fun and not do what you want to do. You know what I mean? And golf calls for that.
So what do you think? Okay, so you've been around, you've watched a zillion tour players, caddy for a bunch, watch them. What's the difference between the young guys, the guys that get where they can win, and the guys that don't? And when you watch a young person, one of these young people hanging out, what is it that you look, when you watch him and you look at him, you say, man, that guy could play at that level, he could win, or versus a guy because we've all seen guys, I know, where you watch him and whatever, it might be impressive, it might not be, and that guy ain't gonna make it. What to you is the difference?
What makes Will stand out in my book is
pick on me.
he don't,
Go ahead.
he listens. You don't hear him talking.
I agree with that 100%.
He's taking what everybody says, whether it's right or wrong, and he decides whether he's going to use that info.
Most of the
He's
pieces.
always taking in info, no matter what. Always. So there's no doubt in my mind he's going to make it. He's the guy we need for golf right now. I feel like Will would make a huge advancement for the tour. He might even solve the live thing. Is that good of a dude? I'm not exaggerating that, but it's like, with Will it stands out.
Coop, you and I need to go back out there and hit that.
He asks questions. No, I don't. He asks questions. He listens. You got guys that come out on tour, young guys now, that don't want to hear from veterans how to play a hole because they don't play the hole that way anymore. Scott Verplank can help very few people on tour today because they're bombing it over everything, and it's a different game.
But there's so much, one of the things I tried to do with my young guys when they got to the tour, and I was fortunate to have good young guys, but have good guys with experience at times, but was I remember Colonial, when we first came back in COVID.
I remember that we stayed together in the house with Molly. Hey, Phil, what's happening? Free putters are nice.
Yeah, and that's when he gave the gummies all melted together.
You don't have to whisper.
But anyway, so.
Oh, yeah. Melted together. Bad mistake. Never let him do that.
Anyways,
That was terrible.
But Andy was out there making one of his first, I think it was his second tour start, maybe.
Right.
I think so. Maybe it was anyways. But it played with, but the opportunity to introduce him to Lucas, which I know they still communicate with friends, and Bill Haas. Remember, Bill played with us. I was working with Bill at the time. But to me, the interesting thing from guiding young people or guiding any players, it's not just the golf swing or golf structure, but like at that particular instance, it was like life, golf in life.
Yeah.
Right? Like golf with, like,
there was more to it than golf.
how do you pick an agent? What's your agent supposed to do?
What's your schedule supposed to look like?
Right, exactly.
How do you go and figure out a golf course that you haven't?
Yeah, right. And then, you know, like to me at that time, I mean, bringing a young guy up, I mean, it'd be hard to, I mean, like, there weren't too many better veteran people you could introduce a young person to than Lucas Glover and Bill Haas, that had seen it all. Right? And like, all be told, are very grounded, good people, right? Like, you know,
he's not going to tell you just it's all good.
Yeah.
He was honest with you.
Bill's got a great pontoon boat.
I mean, for you guys to come out here and dedicate your life to the game, that's pretty good. You know, I mean, but to truly do it, a lot of guys want to be pros. But man,
So, all right, so let's take the shift off of Will for a minute.
Yeah, I like Will.
What I know, that's what I'm talking about. So when you watch young people, what is it that makes you say this guy's going to be good, this guy can do it?
Here at the camp or what?
No, just
in general. You know, like I've got some people back home that won't be able to look at some swings and stuff, and that never impresses me. A swing doesn't impress me.
It's the minimum requirement.
It's a kid that can hit a bad shot and not get flustered and go up there and punch it out and make a par, like James did today more times than we can mention. That gives me satisfaction. That's a guy that knows he's learning the game. We're trying to get around in the least shots possible.
We must have said it 100
It's
times
different,
today that he was learning how to play.
You're learning how to play golf. You can swing beautifully. You can do everything perfect on the range. You can play amateur golf to the tee because you can cheat them. You know what I mean? But when it matters, when it counts, you got to be
one of the
good.
great podcasts.
You have to be good. And you know what? James has enough enthusiasm. That guy's going to be a good player.
Yeah. Oh, he wants it.
And it's all to your credit. I mean, for real. It's all you. You got it.
You got a question.
I can tell you, and you're going to make fun of me because I'm going to reference.
We're not getting into the rock and roll thing again.
I'm going to reference.
I've totally admitted, I'm going to make a huge admission here. Rod Stewart is what we call it. I'm going to create a word here.
All right.
He's a transitional artist, kind of like a
beautiful word.
That would be
He
like
brought ballads to rock and roll.
that. He's like between pop and rock.
I'd go with that all day. I'd even get,
We'll call him a tranny, a dewsweeper tranny.
give me a t-shirt, I'll wear it. Rod Stewart with the hair.
So
Sorry.
you're going to make fun of me because I'm going to make a popular literature reference on your podcast, but I'm reading this book by this chef, Ina Garten. You know, she's a chef. And
She should grow her own stuff and cook with it.
but her book is called Be Ready When the Luck Happens. And honestly, when I see what good players do, that's what good players do.
Wow.
It's they're ready when luck happens. So, and that means being ready. They're ready when bad luck happens. They're ready when good luck happens. So, you know,
Teachers have to be that way
Everything's
too.
a challenge.
but everybody knows that balls bounce weird, good things happen, bad things happen. And when you see the players that persevere through that and they're ready to take their opportunity when they get it, when, you know, to me, those are the players that make it. And they're the ones that aren't permanently damaged by what an outsider or a fan would consider to be a failure.
Correct.
Right.
Because I think, losing a major championship
That's a great
is not necessarily a failure. It can be a success because it took you another step toward where you want to go. And so the danger, I think, for players is assessing themselves the way a fan might assess them, and say, well, you know, Victor Hovland had a great year and he didn't get it done in the PGA Championship, so that was somehow a failure. If he sees growth and he sees that as being in the next step in what he needs to do, there isn't anything about that was a failure. Right. Being on the skillet and seeing how you react to it, if you can take from that and do something different the next time.
Yeah, I agree.
I think we're spoiled. I think we're spoiled.
Are we spoiled?
By what Tiger did and what Rory did and what, you know, golf is a developmental
You're
game.
talking about like the DNA test
Right.
now with the killer they find, it's 1 in a billion.
This is a
People that are
this is
one in
a
a billion.
developmental game, and the players that make it are the ones that can be ready when the luck happens. That's
I love that.
I love
You know, I recall a tournament I worked an event as a caddy. I'm not going to tell you what it was. I don't remember. It was a redo on a course. They were having a major championship. So it was up in North Carolina, near Charlotte. They redo the course and did not do a bad job with the course. I'm not saying that at all.
We can probably put this together.
But I watched pro after pro after pro hit what I would call 1 in 100 shots, so perfect, that took bounces that you just would not believe. And I don't recall the player, but he hit a shot in the air, and for some reason, mid-air, I went to do something favorable. And it was just like, he looked at me and went, that's about where we're at now, and hit and hope. But, you know, one guy that week figured out how to do it and accept it and walk away with the check. But it was,
Who was it?
I don't know who, it might have been Rory that won that year. I'm not 100% sure, but it was.
That was the PGA, wasn't it?
No, yeah, and it was just, my heart was at Quail. You know, Lucas had won that. I got to break down. My heart, they hadn't. Yeah, and they still do. It was just
No,
like.
that was the PGA at
You know,
Quail.
just so close.
That wasn't Rory.
Such good people.
Who won the PGA at Quail?
You know,
Oh, JT.
watching those
Justin
shots,
Thomas won it.
and they learned how to deal with
Fine
it.
Alabama
or
boy.
the U.S. Open at Shinnecock.
Oh, man, you know,
With the crazy
you just have to
big
deal
time.
with everything that you planned, and it ain't gonna happen. And how you react to that is what's gonna come from it.
I mean, I'll never forget DJ when they messed up the rulings. You know, he's out on the course, and they can't come up with what he did.
Man.
Oh, my.
They can't.
No.
They can't decide where he
Up
stands.
there in Wisconsin,
So they can't decide where he stands.
whistling straight.
And well, I mean that's the bunker ruling.
That's the
No,
bump.
Oakmont. So Oakmont's the one where it's somewhere.
He gets the 18th hole. And he doesn't know if he's leading or behind.
Right, so he's
And
had 3, he had the one in Chambers.
And he pipes it down the middle, and he hits a 5-iron to 10 feet.
I
And
recall.
makes the putt, and they wind up giving him the penalty anyway.
Right.
But he was ahead by 3.
Right.
So to be able to have that kind of
That guy's dealt with
serenity,
more.
but that serenity with that uncertainty, and you know that's impressive.
But look at DJ now, he's a great player, and it's happened to him a couple, you know, I don't know what, the putt that he made at Chambers Bay was not a bad putt.
No.
That thing hit something, I mean, we were putting through bunkers on greens there. It was, you know, not the best conditions. But,
It's the one Jordan won, right?
yeah, that
He
guy,
made $8 million.
He did.
He made
there
it.
was holes on that course one day that I've never felt uncomfortable caddying, but I didn't have answers for what to do. I mean, it was like, I don't know what to do. If I were you, I'd just keep it low. You know, I'd punch that thing. You know, we don't want to look dumb making full swings. Let's punch it around like we're hurt or something. It was that bad. It was hard to a level that wasn't even fair. Like, I don't know. It seems like I'm beating down every golf course, but I'm not. It was like not fun. Jordan had fun, but I guarantee you who finished second did not.
I think the USGA is thrilled to hear you say it wasn't fun. That's what they're after.
It's not supposed to be fun.
I mean, I don't agree. I think it should
At
be
one
fun. That's
moment,
what
we never climbed a stair, ever. And then one tournament, I can't, Chambers Bay, I counted 108 on one hole. Upstairs, would not let a caddy go underneath. I go, they're trying to tire our asses out. Lucas, don't, and I said it to him, they're trying to tire you out. Take your time going up the stairs. I mean, from then on, congressional, from 18 green to the scoring gym, was over 300 steps up. It's like, come on. Every other event we got shuttles, but let's get back to the point. I'm sorry.
No, I don't know.
Off. What was the guy even talking about?
what makes you identify players that are going to make it.
We were on.
We should be asking you. We should be asking you
What's
because
not
your
fun
track
about it?
record with junior players.
I mean, there's some, the ones that are really good. So Coop touched on one thing about the willing to learn. The ones that have been special, that I've had the fortune about, like you can tell by the questions they ask. I remember Robbie Shelton, first lesson I gave him was at this place, Rock Creek on the Eastern Shore. And I remember showing him a video of his swing. I sat down, had it in my laptop. I think it was the first time he'd ever really seen a swing. And I showed him, like, he was a little bit like this at impact.
Was
right?
VJing it?
Yeah. And then I pulled up, I think it was actually Bobby Wyatt at the time, because he knew Bobby. And Bobby was like this. And, oh, I need to be like that. Well, I mean, he went like 6 weeks, he came back. Yeah, I brought him back for a lesson. It was like that, right? You know, like, and I was like, wow, I really didn't do much other than show him. And I don't think in the time that, you know, all the years I coached him that I did much more than guide and be a set of eyes. But I think that the best, there's certain ones you meet. I knew Bobby was crazy talented. By the way, it sounded, we talked about that at one meeting too.
It was the best.
Shelton, you knew there was something different. Andy, you knew. Andy was the one that had the most different golf swing.
You know, I like Suker. I mean,
And
I
Suker.
think that, you know, what a good player. You know?
The best story about Zach, though, is we've had him, like, and Matt, you'll love this, is like, I gave him a couple lessons, like he was on the Hooters tour and Brian Mobile, and I hadn't heard from him in a year and a half, two and a half years. And he gets his tour card, and people start calling me and congratulating me. And they said, somebody sent me a screenshot of his PGA Tour bio, and he listed his teacher as me. So I called him, and it was going into Vegas, so it was about this time, and I said, hey man, like, how you doing? Congratulations, glad you're playing great. And he's like, oh, thanks, Steve, blah, blah, blah. And I said, hey man, I'm just letting you know, like, whoever you're working with, you don't want to piss them off. And he got some mad at me because, oh no, I hadn't taken a lesson since you, and it was good.
Right.
He's like, hey, would you mind coming out soon though? Like, I hadn't been playing right, but like, it's interesting, like, how different, you know, Zach, and
Always
been on this
struck, you know, how does Zach not make him? Just does everything good.
does everything good.
I think the component of talent is matched with the component of obsessiveness. The willingness to, the players that say, well, if I need to hit balls here for another hour and a half to get it, there's not a question about what they're going to do. I don't think you can make it now as a relatively committed golfer.
No,
to be a full
and like when Will and I are traveling, and you know, we're talking about people we know that were good or whatever, you know, I mean, that guy didn't, you know, he didn't work as hard. He didn't, right? And
didn't go to the gym, you know,
whatever, right?
Yes.
And like as a coach, you can only tell you what to do. And I mean, that's kind of my format with whether it's these folks or juniors or whatever. It's like, I'm going to try to give you all of the tools, every advantage. But like Will started telling me that I'm like direct. You know, I'm a no bullshit. Like, I never really thought of myself that
You're
way.
not, yeah.
I don't know if that's the right way to
That ain't the right
like,
way.
it's not the right
I've
way to
seen
put
a
it,
little
but like,
bit of
you tell it how it is.
There's
And I think
no
a lot of
bullshit.
people respect that.
no bullshit. And it's
But-
never the same thing.
But yeah, I guess. But I just always thought of it like, well, I mean, I'm going to tell you what you need to do, and if you're not going to do it, like, I can't do it for you.
Right. I can
Right.
Like, I'll use myself as an example. Like when I was in college and doing college workouts, not doing workouts that were meant for my own golf swing, I'd come get a lesson and you'd be like, well, you're just not ever going to figure this out until you
Go to
get
the
in
gym.
the gym properly.
Right. Just what we told
Yeah.
James today. Don't get upset with the bad
Yeah.
shots. Look, you didn't hit one on the front nine. You're getting fatigued. So it's that extra effort you have to put in staying down. Easy to come out. And he understood that, hey, a little bit more gym work, maybe. And you're the guy. You're the guy that has the answer. Not many people have. Well, you just go to Aaron. Boom, you got stations. If that's your problem, go to him. If you're thinking bad, if we diagnose that somebody's thinking terribly on the course,
Or
you
crazy.
can't break par on those 3 holes.
We talk about crazy.
I mean, come on. I haven't seen on the par on, a couple times. Come on, guys. If we're ready to play,
All right,
you
man.
know,
One question, wrap us up. You wrap us up. What do you think?
The question?
Robert Palmer, rock and roll.
Wow!
Total rock and roll.
Rock and roll.
Rock and
You got to go rock and roll.
You have to.
I want to, before we wrap up, I
Sneaky
want to,
forward.
there's one person in particular, I thought about this a lot today.
Mhm.
And it's Hoosiers won today too.
big margin. Like, I think Mellencamp deserves to be. I think he's a rock and
I
roll.
think I could go, I could probably lean toward it.
And I'm not saying the later stuff. Like,
But, you know, I don't like what he's doing with the audience these days.
No,
Personally,
I mean,
I've seen it.
I don't think somebody that wasn't rock and roll could do that. So we'll go rock and roll.
I would argue that might be the most rock and roll thing you can do.
Cuss the crowd, right? And leave. Who did that?
one question statement. What do you think?
My statement is I admire the fact that you're admitting that Rod Stewart is not fully rock and roll.
But would you advise anybody to come with us or? I mean,
Would you advise any Rod Stewart
Did
fan?
you see any positive of today?
I can say unequivocally that there's never been a time when there's been more information available. Information is not the issue for any player.
Right.
There's a fire hose of information coming out. It's not useful to anyone unless you have some context.
Is there too much? Are we giving too much?
No, but unless you have context for that information and you understand what information is for you, it doesn't work. And what's been so impressive to watch today is to see a fitness person, a teacher, a player, a caddy, working with players saying, you know, this is what's important for you to know.
Right.
This is what's important for you to know. This is what's important for you to know. And it's this whole golfer piece.
And just, can I add in for the listeners that they gotta understand, we've got a woman, you know, I don't wanna throw a woman who's, you know, a mature woman. She's right there with a guy that's a one handicap, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we're making it work for all these people. When they leave, they have to feel better. I know in my mind, they are feeling like they're better.
But, and more important, yes, I don't want to say more important, equally important, is that you can see the delight that they're having fun playing. And I think that gets lost sometimes, because obviously hitting good shots is important, but the reality for recreational golfers is this should be fun.
The nicest thing, I'm going to throw you under the bus a little bit. Nicest thing anybody said about my teaching in forever, or like where we were riding in that car down the track, so you're like, man, I had a really good time watching teach. Like everybody had fun. I think that's what you said. And I was like, well, I mean, that's like what you're trying to do, right?
And why are we doing this? I mean,
right, like I had a blast today with those folks in the
We had fun.
and it's, you know, one, it was a great group. Like, they were, you know, I thought the interesting thing, and now we are going to wrap this up, but it was like, I liked that last group for us in the Bay, with the three adults, three members, where they watched each other take the lesson.
yep.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is a underrated deal. Nobody thinks it like.
Well, that's how I grew up.
You
watch it,
And you
you
teach
gonna learn.
lessons. That's kind of the deal. I watched Tony teach every day for 6 years.
He took 8%. Club never knew he paid his college.
Right.
I got to deal with him.
Hey.
But
Guys, I like doing this because I leave feeling like somebody learned about the game.
Yeah, I mean, the information shouldn't be stuck away
No,
somewhere.
we're willing to.
But also spraying it on them, you know, and
How many rounds do you think I lived on tour rounds? I would hate to know. There's a little bit of
8 or 9.
I've seen at least a ruling or something that kind of didn't make sense. You know? I know a little, not a lot, and I know I'm full of shit. But if they listen to me, they get a little bit, you know, just a little bit from what I get. Very little.
But
What they get, come on.
I've had lots of conversations over the years with coaches who would say to me, why doesn't, you know, when Tiger was going through his various swing changes and things, and I would be with coaches who would say, I know what Tiger needs to do. Why won't he just listen to what I have to say? And what I've learned in the 20 some odd years I'm doing this is the information is just the starting point.
right.
Unless you have someone who can deliver that in a way that makes sense.
Receive
And that's what you watch today is
process it,
getting information in a way that
and
makes sense.
in turn, let it show up in the game.
That's a great
I love you guys.
Love you too, buddy.
What you do.
Thanks, Steve.